Hi, I'm David Bank. I'm Vice President at Civic Ventures here in San Francisco. So I had my primary career and decided I wanted to do something different. Met Mark Friedman, who's the founder of Civic Ventures, and I just got captivated by what I thought was a big idea. The notion was, at that point, and still is, that older adults represented a huge reservoir and pool of talent that could actually be utilized in much more productive ways than society was sort of organized to utilize it, and that there were all sorts of unmet needs for kids in healthcare, environmental work, social service agencies, community groups, and that older adults had a lot to contribute to all that. We started out really thinking that was a volunteer model. The kind of classic profile of that was maybe a retired postal worker or a retired nurse or somebody who had a pension. And as the project went on, the model shifted. So we started to say, let's change that model. Let's not have good work be shunted off into volunteer land and paid work be something that you do just for the money without values and meaning. And let's see how we can, in effect, invent this new category. So that was the genesis of what we've come to call encore careers. We've worked a lot on what the slogan is, and purpose, passion, and paycheck kind of sums it up. So the original idea was that there's this need for this talent and this experience. That, of course, runs headlong into an economic downturn, and so there's still these needs, as I said, but now there's no jobs. So our mission has stayed the same in that we want to enable people to do the work to help meet these challenges, but we now have to do an additional work, which is how do you actually create these kind of opportunities so people can do this work and get paid, and that becomes much harder as in any kind of job creation effort now.
Hi, I'm Marci Alboher, and I'm with Civic Ventures, a think tank focused on boomers' work and social purpose. We're not career advisors. That's really not what we do. We are out there with a really big idea that we think can solve problems for a lot of people individually and for the communities that they live in and for the world, really. And we're trying to forge pathways to make that happen. We have fellowships that we've launched. We have community colleges that we've funded, that they're out there offering very specific to communities, job training programs for work that exists in those local communities. So those are the kinds of programs that we work on. And then the book I'm working on now is a real how-to tool that we'll be distributing as soon as it's ready. In addition to the book that I'm working on, of course, we do have job listings on encore.org. They're not unique to our sites. They're in partnership with other organizations that post their jobs on our site. But I'm not a firm believer that most people are getting jobs through job postings online. And I'm not sure that spending a lot of time online is the best way to get a job. People seem to get jobs when they go out into the world and they connect with people who are working in fields where there are opportunities, and they forge connections with people who know them. So your best chances of hearing about new opportunities and meeting the people that are going to make jobs happen for you is to let people know what you're interested in, what you're good at, and to get that message out to as large a net of people as possible. One online place that is a good place to spend time is a site like LinkedIn, where you can see, or even Facebook has this ability, where you can see the friends of your friends. You can see who people know, so that if you're looking for a job in a particular industry or field, you can see if you know anybody who knows people in that field and ask for an introduction. But there's an offline way of the same kind of thing that's been going on for years that still exists, and you may not be in an industry where a lot of people are posting online. You may be doing something where you feel like a lot more of the action happens at meetings in your community or at your local church, or a place where people are out and about. So a lot of times when people are out of work, the last thing they want to do is show up, at a meeting, at a party. But those are just the kind of places where the minute you start showing up and start showing off who you are and what you care about, you will find that there are people who know of opportunities who could be helpful to you. Another thing that we have seen time and again helps people get jobs is volunteering. You are making contacts at the same time as you're doing good work, And in today's economy, you're also probably meeting a bunch of other people who are unemployed who might be nice connections for you. It also has like psychic benefit to go out and help some other people is a really, really great way to spend your time when you could be otherwise kind of just, beating yourself up that you had another day and you're not finding something. And there's some great sites for volunteer opportunities where you can match yourself up with your interests and your talents and when you're even available. Volunteer Match is a really good one. You plug in what city you live in, what days of the week you want a volunteer opportunity, what issue you want to work on, and it will spit out opportunities for you. So that's one way to get started. The most common question I get is, what about age discrimination? It's totally real. One thing I feel really good about with the work that we're doing is that I think by the time our work is done, the generation that comes next might not feel age discrimination as much as the boomers today are going to be feeling it. And the reason they're feeling it is they are going to be working longer than any generation prior, and the workplace is not used to it. The workplace is not used to seeing grandparents running around the job all the time. It's just not the norm. We had a life trajectory that is going to change. And it reminds me so much of when I hear women of different generations talking. I mean, the women who say, you just don't know what it was like. And I'm one of those women. I don't know what it was like. When I went to law school, our class was already 50% women. When I got out into the working world, there was nothing strange about me going on a business trip with my boss, who was the same age as my father. I mean, none of these things were strange. I took them all for granted. It was really normal. When I talk to my colleagues who are in their 60s, they tell me about a world that is totally different than the world I live in today. And I hope that we will feel the same way about people who are older in the workplace when the next generation is facing those issues.